So the jinns are coming to the humans and saying, hey, that prophet, say this. And you're like, yeah. And then he says, then the enemy of the prophet says it. And then when he does it, another jinn says, wow, that worked. We're inspired to give some more waswasa. So there, the kafir behavior is inspiring the shaitan, the jinn shaitan, to do more whispers. You understand? To make things even harder for the prophets. You understand? So they are kind of in a partnership. But here's the important thing. Do the disbelievers know that they are being inspired by devils? Allah has told us in Surah Al-Ra'd that He has a way of kind of mapping out the struggles of prophets. Not just our prophet, all prophets in the past. عليهم الصلاة والسلام. وكذلك جعلنا لكل نبي عدوا شياطين الإنس والجن. This is how we put in place for every prophet enemies. Devils from humans and jinns. So now Allah is saying, every time a prophet came, a prophet had what? Enemies. And he had two kinds of enemies. What two kinds of enemies? Human beings and jinns. يُوحِي بَعْضُهُمْ إِلَى بَعْضٍ. They inspire each other. Which one is actually inspiring which one? So the jinns are coming to the humans and saying, hey, that prophet, say this. And you're like, yeah. And then he says, then the enemy of the prophet says it. And then when he does it, another jinn says, wow, that worked. We're inspired to give some more waswasa. So there, the kafir behavior is inspiring the shaitan, the jinn shaitan, to do more whispers. You understand? To make things even harder for the prophets. You understand? So they are kind of in a partnership. But here's the important thing. Do the disbelievers know that they are being inspired by devils? No. The shayateen of the jinn, the devils of the jinn, are invisible. They don't. Their partners, the human partners they have to be enemies of the prophets, they don't even know that they have partners. You understand? So they're an invisible support for the forces of evil against prophets. Right? Now what Allah is going to do in this surah, He's not talking to all jinn. And He's definitely not talking to all human beings. Surahs have particular audiences. Surahs have, I'll say that again, surahs have what? Particular audience. And you have to pay attention to the language of a surah to say, who is this for? For example, Surah Al-Kafirun, you say, no, every surah is for everybody. No, that's not how education works. Because if every surah is for everybody, قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا الْكَافِرُونَ is not for you. لَا أَعْبُدُ مَا تَعْبُدُونَ is not for you. It's for who? It's for the kafirun. Then if this is the case, that every surah is for everybody, then Surah At-Tawbah is for you. You know? Then the thing is, when someone's teaching, then they have to see who are they teaching and what is the time to teach what. So not every surah should be looked at the same way. First we have to understand who the audience is. And the audience in the surah are human beings and jinn that are hell-bent on calling this message a lie. And the word for calling the truth a lie is takdhib. The verb would be yukadhibu. And if two people are doing it, you say tukadhibani. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. That phrase is giving away who is the audience of this surah. Not all jinns. In Surah Al-Jinn, we learn among the jinn there are Muslims too. There are good ones among them too. In this surah, we're going to learn that Allah is going to address the invisible enemies of the Quraysh that were inspiring to them to be enemies of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There's further evidence to this. I want you to understand why this is important. You're going to find in this surah a description of Judgment Day, then hellfire, then heaven. I'll say that again. Judgment Day, hellfire, and heaven. Now, Judgment Day is only for disbelievers or both believers and disbelievers? Very good. It's for both. But what you're going to find in this surah is Judgment Day is only described as a horrible event where criminals will be terrified. Who is not being mentioned when Allah mentions Judgment Day? Believers are not being mentioned. And then when Judgment Day is mentioned, the horrors of Judgment Day, when they're being shot at and criminals are being told, run as far as you can, you're not going to be able to escape. and criminals will be recognized by their face, the marks on their faces. This is the kind of thing we're going to read in the surah. That's judgment. That's not hellfire. That's just Judgment Day. Is that the state of believers on Judgment Day? No. So the description of Judgment Day in Surah Al-Rahman is not everything that's happening on Judgment Day. The description of Surah Al-Rahman's Judgment Day is only what the criminals will have to face on Judgment Day. And which criminals in particular? The criminals among the human beings that were being backed up by the jinn. And that's why when we get to the description of Judgment Day, Allah says, Ya ma'shar al-jinni wal-insi, in istata'tum an tanfudhu min aqtar as-samawati wal-ard. Gathering of jinns and humans. If you want to escape, go ahead. You know, so why did He combine jinns and humans like that? Because in another place in the Qur'an, Allah told us, some jinns and humans work in a partnership. So you know what? Go ahead, partner up and go and escape. So there's a sarcastic commentary on their partnership that's going to take place on Judgment Day, right? And on the flip side, by the way, now they're combined together and they're being burned in hellfire together. Now when we get to Jannah, what should you see? You should see humans and jinns in Jannah. Because if the surah is about all humans and all jinns, then when the Jannah conversation goes on, then we should see humans and jinns together in Jannah too, you know? But what do you find? وَلِمَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ. And for whoever feared standing in front of their Rabb, they get two gardens. We go back to the singular. No longer pair, no longer plural. We go back to human beings. There's a switch that's happened. There's a really interesting switch that's happened. So these are indications why the jinn are being talked to here. Allah did not reveal the Qur'an to the jinn. If they happened to hear it, they were marveled by it. They were moved by it. Some of them came to believe in it. Others realized, oh my God, human beings are about to get guidance. We better upgrade our misguidance strategy. Right? So they heard the Qur'an coming and they realized they've got to up their game to undo the guidance that Allah has sent. Right? So they had different reactions to it, but that does not mean the guidance of the Qur'an came directly to them. Some of them heard it and they were impressed by it, you know, like in Surah Al-Ahqaf. But that doesn't mean they're its direct recipients or the direct intended audience.
Hey guys, you just watched a small clip of me explaining the Qur'an in depth as part of the Deeper Look series. Studying the Qur'an in depth can seem like a really intimidating thing that's only meant for scholars. Our job at Bayyinah is to make deeper study of the Qur'an accessible and easy for all of you. So take us up on that challenge. Join us for this study, the Deeper Look of the Qur'an, for this surah and many other surahs on BayyinahTV.com under the Deeper Look section.